Listen up, get ready, I'm not gonna take no more. There's a revolution, a revelation going on in my soul. Buckle up, get ready, we're not gonna sit back.
We're back. We're back with more live from the Heartland for the week of the 18th of February, and we are recording on the 15th. And, going toward the end of the show, we put the sports section at the back, and that's what we're going to do now. I've got my cousin Adam James on. He's out there in California. He played football at Northwestern. Was quite a jock, this guy. And he moved to California. He's been a trainer for a long time, and he's now working in a movie. Tell us a little bit about that movie before we do the sports. Doc Savage.
Yes, thank you so much. It's great to be here, Michael. I really appreciate it. Of course, to everybody there in Chicago and the Heartland, love you all. Hope everything's going great. Stay warm. Yes, so Doc Savage is a new web series that's going to be coming out on Roku, Tubi, Freebie, and a few other streaming platforms. It's based or inspired by the original 1930s Pulp Fiction character, Doc Savage. He's a scientist, adventurer, detective, and martial artist. And what we've done is we've kind of brought him into the modern era. He was, in the 1930s, one of the most popular characters in all of popular culture. A very successful Pulp Fiction character, along with The Shadow. And they did a movie in the 1970s starring Ron Ellie, who had played Tarzan in the Tarzan television series. And it just hadn't gotten the traction over the years like Batman and Superman and some of the other superhero characters. But many people consider Doc Savage the original American superhero. And so we're doing a brand new web series based on this character, along with his team of experts. They take on an international evil mastermind. And it's really cool little project. We filmed the first episode up in Fresno, California. We're doing a sneak preview, little mini premiere of the series, just showing episode 1 in a raw cut form at the Martial Arts History Museum on March 11th. Which is located in Burbank, California, part of the greater Los Angeles area. So for any of you out there who are listening, who are in Southern California, the premiere will be at the Martial Arts History Museum on March 11th. And come on over if you're in Southern California and want to see a cool episode.
Well, I'm looking forward to seeing this, Adam. And you and I worked in some of Andy Davis's movies together. And this is the SAG, Screen Actors Guild movie. So we're standing with the union. Okay, this is a sports report. So besides Doc Savage rescuing the world or whatever, let's talk. One of the big things that led me to call you was you had texted me and said, hey, Northwestern's playing Purdue right now. And then I learned later, I didn't go see it, and that Northwestern beat #1 Purdue. Give us the sports report. Start with Purdue losing to Northwestern.
Well, yes, it's a really great story for Chicago sports fans. The Northwestern basketball team has been on an upward trajectory with Coach Chris Collins, who was Doug Collins' son. He was the former Chicago Bulls coach. And Chris Collins done a great job, got him to the tournament 4 years ago. They kind of lost a little bit of that momentum the last 2 years, but this year's team is really playing well. They've got some great players. And yes, they just played ranked Purdue at home. Huge win. Some people call it an upset. For us Wildcats, it was how it was supposed to end. And we stormed the court and celebrated with the team. So that was exciting. A lot of great things happening for Northwestern sports. Of course, there is talk of a remodeling of Ryan Field, the Northwestern football team's stadium. And the project will become, it is designed to become one of the best facilities in all of the country for in-person game day experience, up-to-date modern technology, all the great amenities will be at this little stadium. It's also going to be smaller than any other stadium in the Big Ten Conference and one of the smallest in the country, but they're hoping to make it a more intimate experience, highlighting all those things that make Northwestern and its athletic program special.
And they'll still be right next to Mustard's Last Stand, where you can get a Chicago-style hot dog, and they will give you ketchup if you want it. Okay.
That's right.
How about women's rankings? I think there are 5 Big Ten teams in the top 16.
That is correct. The Big Ten Conference continues to do extremely well, academically, of course, but also athletically. And the women's programs have just continued to get stronger and better, perform better. A lot of exciting things happening for women's sports and women's basketball. And of course, with the entire college basketball scene getting ready to go to the postseason, conference championships in both men's and women's, and then the national tournaments. Should be a really great time for sports fans this spring.
So we've got March Madness coming. How long will that last? And you got any prediction on who will win it all?
It now goes into April Madness. But yeah, we're hoping for a really great tournament again this year. Each year, you always get these amazing upsets. That's what makes it so fun and exciting. So
on the pro basketball front, in the women's sector, the WNBA, there's been a lot of trading, bolstering the positions of both Las Vegas and New York. And LeBron broke the record on scoring. Michael Jordan's turning 60.
Yes. Yes, there's some monumental moments that just happened in basketball. Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, not only one of the great basketball players of history, many people say the greatest, but more importantly, a great human being, a great activist, a great thinker, writer, and he, of course, held that position as all-time leading scorer for 4 decades. He broke Wilt Chamberlain's record, and now LeBron has passed his. Worthy successor. LeBron has been a phenomenal player, great professional. Wishing him all the success. And of course, Michael Jordan, who many people consider better than both Kareem and LeBron, is about to have his 60th birthday. And he's doing a very generous thing. He's making the largest individual contribution or donation to the Make-A-Wish Foundation, $10 million. Just going to show that those people who achieve greatness, when they pay it forward and they pay it back to the community, makes a huge impact. So thank you, Michael.
That's good. All right, so golf. I don't follow golf a lot. I do like watching it, though. And, during the Tiger Woods time that I was always paying close attention, it was exciting. Yes. I do enjoy watching it, but there's some big controversy going on in golf between different associations. What can you tell us about that?
Well, essentially, there's one major association, and this golf association has done incredibly well, PGA, for the men's, and then they've done very, very well. They've grown over the years. It's kind of like the NFL and the NBA. It's got an established record. There's a new golf tournament that is funded by the Saudi Arabian fund, and many people have concerns about the money, where it's coming from, whether or not Saudi Arabia as a nation is using this sponsorship in order to affiliate itself with a very wonderful, culturally important, popular sport. And the men and women that play that, or men in this case with this tournament, LIV tournament. And so as a result, there are a lot of people who are concerned about this tournament and this organization. Others think it's a great thing. Competition is important, and not having and controlling all men's professional golf has some people saying, "Hey, this is good for the growth of the sport." We'll see. It's going to be interesting to see how it all plays out in the end, whether this tournament can even get traction. There's some aspects of it that make real sports fans less intrigued. It's not nearly the same tournament level as the PGA as far as the number of rounds and what you need to do in order to make the cut. The LIV doesn't make the cut.
Adam James, we're going to I'm just going to let everyone know that baseball opens, the spring training starting pretty quickly, and the White Sox open against Houston on March 30th. Let's go to the Olympics, because one of the things that there's all these controversy whether the athletes can perform unaligned to a country, and the other thing that's come up is maybe getting rid of boxing. So address those two things.
Well, yes. The last Olympics was a perfect example. During this last Olympics, Russia had started its invasion, and the Russian athletes were not allowed to participate, but they did. And they did it under the International Olympic Committee banner, but still they had the opportunity to compete, which is good for the athletes, bad for the message as far as holding an authoritarian regime accountable for its atrocities, and not allowing them to get, good publicity, good public relations marketing, so to speak, by their athletes in these type of international competitions. So it's a lot of people who think that they should be allowed to compete, whether it's tennis players in the tennis tournaments or Olympic athletes. Let the athletes play. But others feel that, no, we have to hold these countries accountable for what they're doing.
I'm holding up a little bumper sticker, "Do sports, not war. Athletes united for peace."
Fantastic. Now with boxing, boxing itself is a controversial sport. Many people are not fans of boxing and MMA. I am, love it, love the sports, love the athletes. Some people have concerns, but boxing in particular has a long history of involvement with the Olympics, but it's possibly going to come to an end, at least temporarily, maybe forever, because of some of the political aspects. Speaking of, not doing war, one of the amateur body that controls the amateur sport of boxing. They are based in Switzerland, but their major sponsor is a Russian energy company. So they recently made the decision to allow not only for the athletes of Belarus and Russia to participate in the international championships, but to also have their flags and national anthems played if they win. As a result, the United States of America, Ireland, and Great Britain are all boycotting these tournaments. They're saying, no, if you're going to allow that, we won't participate. Also, there's been a lot of concerns about the judges and the fairness and how that's unfolded over the years. Of course, there's horrible stories of tremendous athletes being denied their victory, like Roy Jones Jr., because of unfair judging. And recently, the International Olympic Committee gave some very specific pushback to the International Boxing Association in regards to how their rules are set up. And the IOC was basically saying, in order for you to be recognized as an amateur sport in our arena in the Olympics, you're going to have to make these changes. And the International Boxing Association said, no, thanks. So we'll see what happens, but it looks like it's not going to happen. We'll see. Right now, it's not on the list for sports at the 28.
Well, I got to say that I do like boxing, although as I get older, sometimes it's just too gruesome. But your uncle, my dad, was in advertising, and one of his accounts was Philly Cigars, and he produced the International Boxing Commission Saturday Night Fights on ABC. So I grew up, knowing a lot about boxing, and actually went to a great a match between Kid Gavilan and Bobo Olson. Followed the jet Airstream trailer with the TV crew in the 50s up to Boston. So we'll talk more about boxing. We're going to run out of time here for our little sports segment and family segment on Live from the Heartland. And I'll see you at the family Zoom, because one of the best things about the pandemic was that your dad, my Uncle David, created a family Zoom with all of his kids and with my sister and myself, and who knows what members of the family join up. So I'll see you on Sunday, Adam.
Outstanding. Thanks for having me. Have a wonderful